Do you know the laws that govern you? For instance, do you know how to buy land? What do you need to do before you buy land? Do you know how to protect your interest in land? Do you know your rights if you're detained in a lawful detention? Catch us as we educate you on some of these little things, but very, very material in life. Before you make some of the important life decisions, these are some of the things you need to know as a person. My name is Melon Tukitiriza. So today we are going to look at buying land. What do you need to do before you buy land? What kind of due diligence do you need to do before you buy land? And by the way, why do you need to do any due diligence? First of all, land is a variable, serious asset that before you invest in it, you ought to do a thorough investigation. So we are going to look at some of those critical things that you need to do before you buy land. In a decided case of Sir John Bagere versus House Matovu, court held that land is not like vegetables that you buy from unknown vendors. And so that means you must exercise highest level of caution, seek professional advice to avoid fraud. So the first thing you need to do, you need to do verification on title and ownership. You need to ascertain who is the registered owner of that land. 2, you need to look out for registered encumbrances like mortgages, like caveats. And also you need to trace ownership to confirm clean and chain of title. And then the second thing you need to do, you need to go on the ground and visit the land physically. What do you need to look out for? First of all, you need to assess the location, look out for the neighbors, talk to them, because they always know the owner of the land and they always know if there are any disputes that are ongoing or any past disputes, they always know. You need to visit the local authorities. They also always know who the owner of the land is and if there are any disputes on the land. The other things you need to look out for, there are unregistered encumbrances. For instance, land is its family land. The Land Act provides for security of occupancy for spouses. If it is family land, it is a requirement that you obtain an informed spousal consent. But you see, if you don't do physical visits, you may never get to know that this is actually family land. The other unregistered encumbrances, for instance, you go on land, you find an old woman cultivating. Don't just ignore it. You find an old house. Those are unregistered encumbrances that can give you a pointer that, there must be something that is not right with this land. So it is very, very, very important to do a physical visit. Another thing you need to do is to open boundaries. That's number 3. Engage a registered surveyor to open boundaries. Why do you need to open boundaries? First of all, you need to confirm the total acreage of land and also identify the markstones that are on land. Ensure there is no encroachment on public land or on neighbors' property, and confirm that you have legal road access. Yes. The fourth one, you need to look at some of the legal and other regulatory compliances, like the zoning and the land use. You may want to use the land for commercial, and maybe it's an industrial area, and you're not allowed to do any other commercial activities there. Section 3 of the Physical Planning Act declared Uganda as a planning area. And so before you set up any project, you must first get authorization from the relevant physical planning committees. It is mandatory that before you do any project, you must get authorization from the relevant planning committee as per Section 35 of the Physical Planning Act. And another concern you need to actually look out for in some environmental concerns, factors. Is the land near a wetland? Is it near lakeshore, riverbank. The National Environmental Act and the regulations therein prohibit setting up projects in such areas unless you obtain written approval from NEMA. And Section 110 of National Environmental Act also provides for carrying out environmental impact assessment. And so those are some of the extra costs that will come in future if you're going to develop that land. So before you make a decision to do that investment, you need to take note of such. And therefore, as we conclude, what are those tips that we have looked at, that we have learned, that you need to do before you buy land? One, you do a title search at the land registry. You need to do a physical visit. You need to engage a licensed surveyor and you open boundaries. You need to take note of other regulatory compliances like the environmental factors, like what the Physical Planning Act provides. But also, most importantly, you need to verify the vendor and if he has the right to sell. That is very, very, very important. And then, of course, as you conclude the transaction, make sure you engage a lawyer to help you come up with the appropriate sales agreement. And then after, you need to transfer, you need to register that land into your names. Section 59 of the Registration of Titles Act provides that the certificate of title is conclusive evidence of ownership. So if you buy land and you don't transfer it into your names, you remain an equitable owner. The person who sold you the land remains the legal owner. So if you haven't transferred the land into your names, you only have equitable interests. So we advise that once the transaction is done, please proceed and register that land into your name. So those are some of the tips. Do not forget to apply them whenever you're going to buy land. Land is a valuable asset that you must take extra caution, that you must conduct a thorough investigation before you do such an investment. And please remember, land is not like vegetables that you buy from unknown vendors. Catch you next time.